Why do I hear feedback?
Sorry, guys, technical difficulties, but we are now live. Welcome, welcome once again on to tonight's agenda. So, As one is gonna give us the DJ tip of the week. Sean J is gonna show us his tech tip of the week, and finally, we got some awesome guests lined up for the show tonight. A handful of DJ heavyweights, Red Bull 3 style champions. They will join us for the main topic for tonight and get their opinions on what's in store for DJ competitions this year. So let's go ahead and start the show. Kick it as one.
I got the wild style. 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 Damn, God, you're killing it. God damn. Oh yeah, I got the wild style. I got the wild style. I got the wild style. I got the wild style.
What's good, everybody? DJ Geometrix here, and we're back at it again on this Thursday night with the 9 at 9, the only show on the internet where we have 9 DJs on a roundtable panel discussing today's DJ topics. Again, this show is presented to you by Beat Refinery DJ School at Bach to Rock. If you want to learn how to mix, scratch, and make music, visit beatrefinery.com. Just to let you all know that we're also streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram Live, all on our social media pages at Beat Refinery. If you guys are watching the stream, want to join us on the Zoom chat, type in that link on the screen, bit.ly/the 9 at 9. So on to tonight's show. Like I said before, we have Red Bull 3-style champions in the building right now. We'll talk to them about what's in store for DJ competitions this year, especially since the Red Bull 3-style World Championships was supposed to happen this past April in Moscow, but it got postponed due to of course, the global pandemic. So it'll be interesting to get everyone's take on it. So as always, let me introduce the rest of the hosts. We have DJ As One.
What up? What's going on, guys?
Next, we have Sean J.
Oh yeah. What's up, guys? Good to be back.
And finally, we got my brother Stylus Chris.
Peace, y'all. Thanks for tuning in.
All right, Chris, take the mic.
Yeah, man, this is one of those times where you almost feel a little bit intimidated about the amount of skill that has come onto this 9-board chat that we have here. It's definitely an honor to be able to host these fine young people. I'm gonna just run them down in alphabetical order. We've got DJ producer, mix engineer from Chicago, 2011 Red Bull 3-style U.S. champion. Shared stages with a variety of artists from Roy Ayers to Skrillex, playing at festivals, South by Southwest, former instructor at Scratch Academy. Let's give it up for Big Wants.
Yeah.
The dope background.
Good, everybody. Oh, there we go.
Next, we have hailing from Sicily, and that is in Italy. If you guys don't know, we are very honored to having us the Red Bull 3-style 2016 Italian champion, veteran, 25 years in the game, specializing in hip-hop, funk, reggae, dancehall, disco, and house, turntablist, live performer, party rocker extraordinaire. Give it up for DJ Delta.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you for making the long trip.
Yes.
All right, next we have hailing
he's up really late too. It's mad late there.
Yeah, we're gonna get into asking him.
What time?
We're gonna ask him if
What time is it where you
3 o'clock. Night.
They're in the morning.
That's way
in the
past
morning.
Yeah.
We'll ask him later if he's up or if he's still awake. And hailing from Montreal, Canada, this multi-talented engineer, producer, DJ, and turntablist has been tearing it up in battles for the last few years. Known for rocking hip-hop, funk, and house, she's the reigning 3-style Canadian champ and the first ever female to win the Canadian Red Bull. Let's give it up for DJ Lykx.
Woo! Yeah.
Happy to be here.
Appreciate you coming through, especially being that you are a reigning champion, the only of our panel that is a current reigning champion. It's really exciting to have
We're
you
all
here.
champions forever.
Indeed,
Yeah,
indeed.
I like that.
Next, we have my. I'm excited to introduce a brother of ours who's started with the Beat Refinery and at its inception as one of our instructors. He's written a bunch of our curriculums. He's the two-time Red Bull 3-Style World Finals, two-time U.S. champ, DJ City official remixer, radio shows on FM and Sirius XM. He's done remixes for so many different artists in the game. Any DJ that DJs a lot has got a full page of these edits from this dude and remixes from this dude. He is a true DJ's DJ, one of my best friends, and I'm honored he's here. Let's give it up for DJ Trayze.
Thanks, guys.
From his lair.
Yes.
From the couch.
I'm in Springfield right now.
Yeah. And last and certainly not least, this 15-year veteran, Red Bull 3-Style USA champion, Rehab Las Vegas resident DJ, Chicago Sun-Times voted him the #1 DJ in the area. He toured all over the world. Traditional music background, including a Bachelor of Music and Jazz Studies, which makes his original songs unique and sought after from all kinds of different Fortune 500 companies. While 3-Style might have put him on the world stage, his passion for dance music inspired by his home city of Chicago is what will keep him there. Let's give it up for Trentino.
Yo.
The piano man.
And what is that the lake that you're at? And you just put a palm?
I'm on the beach.
From bro. Oh, he's from the beach.
Yeah.
From the beach.
Well, thank you guys
Right
so
near
much.
the beach, boy.
It's amazing to have something like this pandemic make it to where we're able to communicate and reach out and do things that I don't think we would even thought we'd be doing a month ago. But it's been the 9 at 9 has been a lot of fun for all the people watching and for our panelists and our guests coming on and just getting to chop it up, talk about what's going on right now, talk about some things that are a little more direct to the skill set that you all possess. But let's just start running into it. Delta, we were talking about it earlier. So did you set the alarm to wake up for this, or are you still awake from the day before at this point?
I'm still wake up, man, because I was at the studio before and I saw a lot of films on Netflix, and I'm here.
Definitely.
Yes, it was a long day.
Yeah, no, we appreciate you staying awake. We'll take you right into breakfast for sure. just keep it going.
Start making coffee.
Yeah, I had one coffee before, but I have to prepare another, maybe. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's coffee for you.
Yeah, thank you, man.
It goes well with the burgers. What do you say, Big Once?
Yes, all day.
There you go, Delta.
Now you're 2011. That was like one of the very first Red Bull 3-Styles, right? Or when it?
Yeah. So it was the second year that it went international. So 2010, yeah, 2010 was the first year, and then 2011 was the second year. So
crazy because I feel like in those first years of its inception, it really changed a lot, and guys like you are definitely the kind of guys I think that pushed it forward, where in some ways it was a little, it wasn't, we don't want to call it hokey, but it was certainly guys weren't taking it only, they were trying to be different, I guess, as a battle thing. But, I saw at some of the regionals where guys were like busting out dance routines and doing stuff that was like completely a little gimmicky. And I feel like the turntablists kind of got involved and really turned it into what we call now really dope.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they initially wanted it to be like a straight up party thing, where it was just like, let's take the best club DJs, and I don't think they really took into account the turntablist guys, because pretty early on, at least in the first year, like for example, Drastic from Canada, he's a former DMC dude, half a Fugly, by the way, and he won Canada, and I think he got top 3 in the world. I think they kind of realized pretty quickly that guys that basically like club DJs that have like a DMC or ITF or whatever background are they going to be the ones that are really going to excel.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, yeah, from like 2010, 2011, 2012, when Zach won, 2013, when Trent won, I mean, every year the level just got like astronomically higher.
Yeah, it's sort of what happened with DMC too. Like it wasn't a turntablist battle at the start either.
Totally.
Like, they just took over.
Yeah.
And also, like, something to note is with freestyle, the first couple of years it was invite only.
Yeah.
So you basically had the local Red Bull reps choosing the competitor.
Curated.
Yeah.
Dude, and what the crazy thing is, really, 2011 was the first. So it was the first year that it went, or sorry, the second year that it went international. But at least it was really in the U.S. It was the first year that it actually went super national. Because the first year, it was like New York, LA, and then a bunch of like 4 or 5 like really small cities, like Oklahoma City and like I don't know, like Boston or something.
I think Pittsburgh was one of them, right?
Yeah, Pittsburgh was one of them. So you have all these like small cities, but like no Chicago, like no Miami. It was super weird. So my year 2011 was the first year that it really like went national. And dude, I'll never forget. I got a 5 a.m. text from Trentino being like, yo, I just met the new Red Bull rep in Chicago. It's coming to Chicago next year. 3 Stops coming in. Like, we need to get into this shit now. And we were like, you know, both of us
I was
really
just super lucky that I ran into her like at a club at 3
Aaron Woody.
And and then just like hounded her for the next several weeks to make sure that me and Ian get in there.
Yeah, we were both like hollering at every single person we knew that had any connection to Red Bull because neither of us did at that point. We were like, yo, both of us need to be in this thing because this is like made for what we do. So
that's dope, man. So you were already touching on it, but assuming like you and Trentino you guys have known each other, go back both being from Chicago. How long have you guys known each other?
Dude, a long time. I mean, we met at a Guitar Center battle. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Oh, heck yeah.
Art's won a couple of those.
Or something?
Yeah, I made it to the U.S. I made it to the finals like 2000. Oh, the poster's right there. 2006. I battled like Merge and like Iltrax.
Oh, damn. Okay.
But
so when did we?
For me, because I shared the stage with Common. I remember Common, Madlib, and Kanye was there, and A-Track was there. They kind of bumped into do a secret set, and I bumped into A-Track, and he was like, you know, I don't want to do his voice, but he's like, hey, what's up, guys? What are you guys doing? About it. He's like, yeah, me and Kanye, we're going to do a thing, and then we're going to get out of here and do another thing. I'm like, all right, cool. It was,
Yeah, I think I did it in like 02, 03. I was like 16. 17.
Yeah, we met, probably 2003. And then you went away to college and we didn't see each other for like 4 or 5 years. And then he moved back and we reconnected and started DJing together. And
you know that we all share that. And again, 2002, I think maybe Guitar Center GC spinoff might have started that time. Or
2002.
Going on before that.
Yeah.
It's 2002. Yeah. Crazy.
I have a tape, a VHS tape, and it might have been the first year, but like Sprite was in it.
Platter Pirates. Shouts to the Platter Pirates.
Yeah, Platter Pirates. I'm trying to think who won. Maybe Iltrax. I don't know. Yeah, we didn't meet it was one of the first years, but I don't think it was the very first year. But that's old, man. We are old.
Well,
that's where I met as one. We met at Guitar Center Atlanta 2002 for the regional finals for the East Coast.
Damn.
Lord was in that battle with
Lord,
us too. Impulse, and Lord.
Oh wow.
DJ Smalls from
battle.
Which Impulse?
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Which Impulse?
Scratch Mechanics.
Yeah.
Baltimore Impulse. Okay.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I never knew that.
That's my guy.
Yeah. Shout out to Impulse. He'll be around later on tonight for sure.
Wow.
Okay. Pull up.
And I guess out of this group, Lykx, I think you're the baby of the group. You're the young wizard that's coming up. How many years have you been battling? I know you've been
long, actually. I started with Red Bull actually in 2018. So it was my first battle ever. And yeah, I came back and I tried again. But,
Nice.
Dope.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the rush. I had to do it again. I just
awesome.
had to.
No, I 100% connect with that. I tell people all the time, some people jump out of planes, some people ride roller coasters to get their rush. I jump in front of hundreds to thousands of people to judge me. Like that's how I get my rush. Like, I keep it on the ground, but like fuck jumping out of a plane, I'll just stand in front of people. All right, I'll do my thing, judge me.
I jump on YouTube.
Yeah.
There's probably a lot of people that would much rather jump out of a plane than get in front of a stage as a DJ. I think, you know,
true.
In general, even if it's just rocking a party, a lot of times people don't understand what we go through when you're putting yourself into a place of vulnerability. And, you know, people that make the profession look easy make people that don't understand go, oh, man, it must be so cool and so great and so easy to be a DJ. And it's a compliment to when someone says it must be easy to be a DJ. I always think you should take it as a compliment because it means that they've watched you and think that you're not sweating and you're not showing what's actually going on in your brain. Like if they were able to see inside our heads most of the time, they'd be like, "No thanks, I'll jump out the plane."
Thinking about it because I usually get like not mad but like offended kind of because of the hours that I put behind it. And when people say it's like easy, I'm like, well, is it easy to become a doctor or something? Not that I'm a doctor, but you know what I mean? Like you guys understand that we put a lot of time and it's not like actual book studies, but it's like, it's beyond that. It's like testing yourself every day and trying to go beyond yourself every day. Like,
yeah.
So
surgeon of sound, if you will.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's dope. And, you know, I think Delta, you could probably speak on this. Just being that you've been a veteran in the DJ world for so long. When did you start battling?
I had only one battle in 2016.
Oh wow!
Yeah, this is my only DJ battle experience because I was a club DJ for 25 years.
Wow.
And backing the band DJ for 4 or 5 years. I had a musician band and I touring with these guys for 5 years. And one day I decided to enter in Red Bull Freestyle, the first edition in Italy.
Yeah.
I am the first Italian champ in Red Bull Freestyle.
Wow.
Oh, word! I didn't know that.
Wow.
I had only this battling experience in the 2016 because I don't like a lot DMC. 6 minutes are too short for me. I can't express myself as a DJ in DMC routine. I need more time. So freestyle was more. I was more confident with this kind of format. So I entered it and I am here.
That's crazy, man. Because your videos are like some of my favorite ever.
That's what I was
like 1-2 minute things. Seriously, like you're one of the few people that every time you put out a video, like I'm gonna watch it. Like there's literally like 5.
Yeah, dude, your videos are solid.
Yeah. You're a bad man.
Solid.
No, I started watching the Matt, Trayze, and Trentino videos because I saw nothing. I never knew about Red Bull Freestyle. One time I was in YouTube and I saw Trentino set in Chicago, and I was like, man, this guy's dope. Look. He can he do what I do in the club for a competition.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I have to enter in this.
Oh, that's awesome.
Man,
great.
Trayze too. I saw a lot of Trayze videos on YouTube. These two DJs was a good inspiration for me.
Nice.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
I think that's what the Red Bull.
You're an inspiration to me, man.
I think the Red Bull 3 style competition when it pretty much started, that's what brought out a lot of like the You know, the really, really good, like, you know, party DJs, you know, that was too intimidated to get into like DMC battles. But I think that's what brought out, because like there was a lot of especially like in our area. I mean, I got to see, you know, I've got to see Get Live. Get Live is like one of my favorite party DJs.
Yeah, he was in my year.
Yeah, and
2011.
to see him compete,
he played in the DC one too.
Yeah, he won that. He won that too.
Yeah.
Great.
He won
no.
one.
He got second. He got second to Cousin B. But
I thought he won one in DC.
I think he did. I think
the first ones.
I don't remember which one I judged. It was either the one with Cousin B or Get Live. But yeah, it's like it's one of those things where so many like dope party DJs that can trick mix but you know doesn't have the patience to create like a true DMC routine, man. They totally shine in the Red Bull competitions.
Well, you're a DMC vet yourself, right? I mean, you.
Shouts to the Troopers crew, exactly.
Yeah, man.
McDonald's battles,
a little style too, right?
No, I battled DMC, but like ID Inferno.
Yeah.
Quicks, they were way better than what I did. But
you did the 3 style the 1 year too, right?
I did.
Yeah.
I actually did in
2012.
I judged that.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
where you look.
Well, sometimes sometimes
was it like Howard or something, and it was like
it was at Howard
or some shit. It was
Howard Theater.
It was that was bizarre.
That was
just a weird.
That was
battle.
an interesting battle.
That was a weird night.
Who won that one? I forget.
Spencer Tracy.
Oh, that was the one Spencer won. Okay, yeah. That was at
2012.
That was when the Howard Theater had just opened too. They hadn't been doing a ton of shows yet. It had just been remodeled and reopened.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that was the after party for that. They had Mayor Hawthorne. I remember thinking, having all these local DJs and then seeing like Mayor Hawthorne is at like the same level as a lot of these competitors. It was like, man, my eyes were open. Just like Gio was saying, there's a point of like intimidation that comes from looking at the DMC and being like, I don't know if I can hang there, but then seeing your peers and even like celebrities on this Red Bull, like under the Red Bull umbrella, is really for my generation of DJs kind of changed the perspective of like, I want to try this.
For me, it wasn't even like it wasn't even being like shook or anything. It was just like, I know I don't have the technical ability to really succeed in DMC. So when I saw 3 styles, like I do have the technical ability and like the musical sense to succeed there.
Right.
And I was already playing clubs and stuff. I wasn't really that interested in battling until 3 style came along, because it seemed to relate more to what I was doing.
Yeah, that's how me and him DJ'd in the club every night anyway. And again, it's like I did DMC a couple of years, like did okay, but I knew that I was never going to be at the level that like where I could win even my city or like anything beyond that. But 3 style, like that for both of us, it was just like, oh, this is like made for what we do. Like this is how we DJ every night anywhere, or used to DJ. So it wasn't that big of a stretch to like, write new stuff for that battle.
Joe.
And shout out to Chicago in general. I think if DJs know, but I don't know if the whole world really realizes how important of a city Chicago is to dance music, to DJing, to the culture.
Yeah.
I feel like
music
sometimes
would not be what it is if it wasn't.
Yeah.
And I think that's how that's how I know you guys, Trentino and Big Ones. You guys did the boat takeover, which is a pretty dope party.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
So we did, we did a bunch of shows. Both of us, we performed together, and we were doing this before even 3 style was a thing. Like
like 2010.
Yeah, there was a party at this really tiny club in Chicago called Angels and Kings, and it was this like pop music party, and it was. So it started by White Shadow, who like ended up producing for Lady Gaga, and like he just won a Grammy.
Yeah, I remember him.
Yeah, so he started it, and
me and a character.
Yeah. We both ended up joining his like booking agency, I guess, and we got to play together at this party. And from the moment like me and him got on stage together, it was like they couldn't. Like we ended up like playing the rest of the night. We were supposed to play for like an hour, and we went for like the whole night. And from then on, we were like, all right, we should like make this a thing,
Yeah.
Yeah, and we got to play at Lollapalooza together.
Yeah.
We played at the Indy 500.
That's cool.
In front of 20 to 24,000 people. Yeah, it was good times.
That's awesome. It's great to hear also, Delta, back just what you were saying about how you were learning and just being inspired by these guys' videos, and then here we are, whatever many years later, and they're sitting here talking about how they always love checking your videos, and how DJing is such a beautiful art in that sense. Hip hop culture in general, about how we, it's just in the culture that we grew up into. Battling is a natural thing, but it's also, if it's done like with respect and love and inspiration, it's like you're using that to constantly make yourself better, whether it's a DJ or an MC or a dancer. It's, there's a uniqueness to it. And I was curious, when you started, what was your first inspiration in terms of musically? Was it hip hop, or was it more the funk, soul, disco grooves?
When I started, I was the first record that I bought was an hip hop 12-inch Public Enemy. I don't remember, but something from Public Enemy. But at the same time, I started with the house music too, because I bought a lot of Nervous Records 12-inch.
Yeah.
This label was specialized on hip hop with Black Moon, for example.
Yeah.
Iron, and with house music too, like Master at Works, Little Louis Vega, Kenny Dobbs. So I started with these two styles of music, hip hop and house music. But for 20 years, I played only hip hop, funk, soul, the strictly black music from New York.
Yeah. That's dope, man.
Dope.
And shout out to Montreal, Lykx. I've been to Montreal a few times, and every time I've been there, I've loved how just captivating the city is, but how much people appreciate music there. At least the experiences I've had there.
Lucky you.
It always feels that way, right? When you're a guest in another town, you look at it. I was there at a time where it was like, some of the underground parties were just like really bumping, and you could play a whole bunch of different styles of music, and you could definitely get in on some soulful music and some uplifting music, and crowds would really rock with it. But I see from your resume, like, you're a well-rounded musician. What got you into wanting to DJ? What got you into that side of it?
Well, I don't know. I had a turntable there that I was using for sampling, and then at one point I just got a second
sampling.
One.
Sorry. Sampling.
And then at one point I got a second one. Somebody gave me another 1200, so I just started dabbling with it, and that's how I got to it. Like I my first turntable was bought for sampling music to make beats, pretty much.
That's dope. Yeah. And then when did you decide, like, man, I think I need to pursue the DJing side of this?
When I noticed that there was I could actually do what I love and live from it, basically, because making beats here in Montreal is like, I don't know, the way that I've been brought up, it's not easy, you know what I mean? So I just decided to go with full force with DJing at that point, because I mean, you could get gigs pretty much doing anything, from weddings, from like anything, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Whereas people selling beats, it's like, okay, who are you? You know what I mean? Yeah.
It seems like a much longer build as a beat maker producer to come up and actually get to a point where it's financially sustainable. But I guess that's something that Big wants. I know you do a lot of mixing and mastering and studio work as well. Is that something you could kind of speak to as far as establishing yourself in that space versus
I did.
DJ
Sorry, I
space?
just stepped out for a second to my puppy was banging at the door. So what was the question?
Lykx was saying how coming into the space as a producer and like getting her first turntable with the perspective of making beats, and there's like a lot more of a struggle to make money and make a sustainable living there. Is that your experience as well, where it's harder to establish yourself in that like production space versus the DJ space?
Yeah, I mean, my situation's a little different because when I first started, I was like trying to DJ and produce at the same time, and it was one of those things where it was like it ended up becoming a thing where it was like, well, I could be like an okay DJ and an okay producer, or I could really put all my time into DJing and be like, you know, put all my time and effort into that and be the best DJ I could be, because that's really why I wanted to get into music was DJing always. Production was just kind of a secondary thing. When I was in like college, I would like make beats for friends that were like MCs and stuff, but I made the decision to like really just focus on DJing. Hindsight, I wish I would have stuck with production way back when, but you know, I've really only been producing for I don't know, probably like 4 or 5 years. But the past few years I've really gotten into just the rabbit hole of like mixing and mastering. Trentino was a big influence on that. He helped me like a ton when I was first starting. But now that's kind of where my focus is more than DJing. But yeah, it's like back to the original question. It's really tough to make it as a producer, or even harder as like an engineer or you know, mixer or mastering engineer. That's like
yeah.
Like
I mean, I sort of similar. Like I basically played drums, DJ'd, and produced my whole life. But DJing was just like the clearest path to actually making money. So that's been like the majority.
It sounds like exactly like what Lykx was saying there. It was the easier way.
Yeah, and plus, like for me, you know, I think production is kind of like a cool thing now, and it's like a popular thing. Where when we were coming up, and it wasn't necessarily like that. You know, now you got guys that are like, you know, producing 10 beats a day just on Fruity Loops, and you know they're getting placements because they're just you know, not to discredit anybody, but like I was never one of those guys that could just knock out 10 beats a day. You know what I mean? Like I had to like put time into it. And you know, I feel like that's it's a little different now because of the internet, and there's so many more people doing music, and you know, kind of the barrier to entry is very minimal, which I think is a good thing. But I was never one of those dudes that could just bang out a million, you know, just hip hop beats to just give to MCs. Like that was never like I was never good at it, but that's also never necessarily what I wanted to do. So
I'm trying to sell beats to like starving heart artists, you know.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah, no way.
Starving artists trying to eat off of another starving artist. It didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, I never really had much success with like, I mean, I would produce something specifically for an artist once in a great while, but it was always like, let's sit down and make this together, not like, here's a beat CD of 100 beats, like pick something, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a general balance when you're trying to make music here. The way I explain it to my students is you could bang out beats, right? But in that case, if you're talented enough to just know how to lay down a drum pattern with your hand on a pad, or if you could just draw it in, the idea is you can make all those, you make 10 of those, hundreds of those a day, but sonic quality and accuracy, like you don't really get deep into the mix down or, you know, mixing the sounds basically, you know, and working on the sonics of it. So it's like a balance, you know. The way I teach my students, I like to work well, when they watch me work, I'm kind of doing everything all at once. You know, I'll lay the drums down, but then I'll lay down, say, the next sequence. But instead of moving on and just stacking, I'll stop and go, hey, check this out. now I'm gonna go, since I have this element and that element, I'm gonna sidechain those first, you know, and then I'll jump back into that world and then come back into just, you know, filling out the blocks basically.
Yeah. I also just like discovered in the last like couple of years that I actually like enjoy the process of like doing the engineering and the mixing and mastering more than I actually like the production, like the creation of a lot of the stuff. So, you know, now it's like everybody's trying to be a DJ / producer. You almost have to be to make it anywhere in this world now. But I don't know. Like again, like production is not something that's ever really come super natural to me. I mean, DJing isn't either, but I would pick up DJ stuff way faster than production stuff. But
yeah, for me, like the mixing and mastering didn't really come into play until I started making dance music. Because I was also making like hip hop and pop and R&B stuff to try to get placed, and I would never, you know, mix it because it wasn't the final product. But then when I started making my own music to release under my own name, that's when I started mixing and mastering and got like super deep on that stuff. And now I'm almost the same way. Like it's kind of nice to mix stuff that you're not like totally invested in like you are with your own music. It's nice to just sit back and like do the work and like not worry about, you know, all the other stuff.
The being judged part.
Yeah. I feel like we're lucky. Me and Trentino, also there's another guy, Kid Cut Up, who
Kid Cut Up,
is an LA guy, but he's from Milwaukee. The three of us all kind of like came up together, and our career trajectories and like our interests have all kind of like flowed at the same time. So we all came up as DJs, started doing some production, and now all of us are like really going crazy with the engineering stuff. So the three of us are always, you know, like I've learned a ton from Trentino and Cut Up. Hopefully they, you know, like we're always like sharing knowledge and stuff like that. And it's good to have, I think of like when I started DJing, like I had DMC videos to learn from. That's all I, you know, that's all the knowledge I could gather. Obviously this is so far pre-internet. And I didn't really have anybody. I grew up in like a decent sized city just right outside of Chicago, but nobody that was my age or anybody that I knew personally was into DJing until I got, you know, until I'd been in it for a couple of years. So now it's been nice as the three of us are kind of making this journey into like the mixing, mastering, some production stuff. Like it's cool to have people to like bounce ideas off of, and we're all kind of learning together at this point, which is cool. So
yeah, and I was actually gonna ask Trayze, you know, you've been through a crazy transition over the last just few months and into your new pad and got the new studio, and what's your kind of flow at this point when it comes to production and doing your mastering work, and have you found some late nights, some time to do it from here and there with the Mr. Mom schedule?
No.
Yeah, no.
Just put a record out. Hold on, though.
Well, the record we put out, I had nothing to do with except for I sent the stems to the vinyl mastering guy. That edit was done like 3 years ago, but it happened to be a really good candidate for this record. And I'm sitting on a ton of those that we're gonna be putting out on 45, like just one after the other. But those are already done, so it was a matter of like pulling up the session, export the stems, send the stems off to the guy. That's it. I'm done. Sit back, get my checks. Like
nice.
I want my $2. Give me my $2.
But yeah, I don't have a lot of time since like the whole shutdown thing started. I don't have a lot of time to work in the studio. It ends up being like just a few hours a week, like maybe 3 to 6 hours a week, more like on the 3 side. So wow. Yeah, I'm it's nice to be in here talking with you guys.
Man, I was supposed to, you know, possibly come see the studio last weekend. I was supposed to do a little East Coast run, and you know, obviously that's not happening. But
yeah, I had extended invites to like, you know, all my friends.
Yeah,
and it's a shame. So before like pandemic shutdown happened, my main working hours were like 9 a.m. to about 3:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. That's when my kids are in school. So I could be very productive then, and then I wouldn't have to stay up late because I got all my work done during the day. And, you know, I could do like a little bit of social media at night if I needed to, but I got all like my creative work and emails and business and music and stuff like that. But these days, because, you know, kids aren't in school, it's a struggle to find time to even keep up with like the minimum stuff that I have to do. Like I work for DJ City as an official remixer editor, and I have to, like, I'm obligated to provide them with a certain number of edits every month. So that's been a struggle to like keep up with that. It's not a lot, but yeah,
your
this
wife's out there saving the world, man.
Short story long, this sucks.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into it. Yeah, especially we have DJ Delta, of course, from Italy.
My coffee now.
We need to get him to wake up. But yeah, it was ground zero in Italy for Europe. You know, I mean, how are you guys dealing with that? And like how, you know, like I'm sure you've had to cancel a whole lot of like gigs, and how are you dealing with it?
In Italy is a nightmare. The people still dying, and we are hardly locked down. There is the police in the street, and we are locked at home from from March, like 2 months. Is incredible. And of course, I lost all my gigs for the whole year because in Italy the clubs will close. Will open in spring 2021.
Wow! Oh my God!
Spring.
Oh
wow.
Man!
God.
It's
official work.
It's
Okay.
a shit situation, really.
Oh.
The whole system is in crisis. Nobody work. A lot of clubs and festivals right now are out of business, and we will see what happens in the future. But I hope to start to DJing out Italy in the international clubs. But right now I can't exit from my country.
Oh man!
So I have to wait. I have to wait this shit too. You know.
Yeah.
It's really
I'm
hard.
glad you mentioned that, because a lot of people, at least in like media outlets here in the States, have been saying that Italy is kind of a really good case study for what's going on right now in the United States, because it hit you guys earlier than it's hitting us, and we're kind of looking to Italy as an example of what we're doing right, what we're not doing right, just as citizens day to day.
Yeah.
Hearing that spring 2021 is projected that's very, very telling.
Yeah. The other countries can study our epidemiological statistics situation, you know, because we experimented this pandemic two months before the other countries.
Yeah.
So we are an example.
Yeah.
You know? And it's really hard. Right now, it's really hard in Italy. I don't know how my country will fight with this situation. We'll solve this situation, but it's really hard. It's really hard, man. It's a nightmare.
Has there been any? I can only imagine like how much harder it is seeing this 2 months longer than we have. But to kind of put a little bit of sunshine on it, have there been any like government relief there that's been making it a little bit easier to just make up for the lost income from the gigs? We haven't really even talked about that from your perspective internationally. And actually, I'm curious about that one for Canada as well, ladies, if you guys could speak to that.
Really, I don't know, man. I don't know, because we have to wait every day for government decisions, you know. So we can programming a tour, we can programming a long program live, you know.
Right.
This can affect the economy, can affect the everyday life, and I don't know, man. It's really hard right now.
Have they done anything to give you guys like stipends or any kind of checks to help out at all?
Sorry?
Have they given any Italian citizens like checks
Any
from the
money?
government or anything like any money to help
Did
out?
you get any money?
A little bit, really a little bit, like $600 per month. You know, it's nothing.
Yeah.
It's a little help, but this can help. This can't help. You know, it's
Dropping the buckets of what you lost.
yeah, man. We have to wait. We have to wait a better situation. I hope to start to exit to my country and starting DJing in the international market. I can't wait Italy. I can't wait my country.
I mean, spring 2021 is.
We got to get you over
way
to
too
America,
long.
huh?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not so sweet here either.
Yeah, right.
It's not great.
True.
Sweet, cuz.
I mean, I applied for unemployment in Pennsylvania, and it took them 5 weeks to send me a message back saying that I was ineligible because I'd lived most of the previous year in Maryland.
Oh man.
I can't even apply.
Weeks for you to tell me that, and then so now I just applied for the Maryland one, but we'll see if I get a drop of that.
Maryland's been rough.
They're gonna be like, you haven't lived in Maryland. You haven't been in Maryland. You know, you left.
It's fine.
You were born in Seattle, Washington, so no.
So it
actually,
It was a shot.
you don't
it was
have
a shot in the
Maryland,
dark.
right?
It was a shot in the dark. Let's see if I get like my couple bucks out of it.
Well, what about you,
Fingers
Lykx?
crossed.
Like, what's going on in Canada as far as like helping out, like, you know, self-employed people, and I mean all the citizens as well.
Can you guys hear me, first of all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't see though, right?
You're frozen right now.
Exactly.
Frozen, but we hear you.
My camera, I don't know why it's been shutting off, but anyways, they have been giving people money. Some it's unemployment, some is CERB. CERB, I'm not sure what it stands for exactly. I think it's Canadian Emergency Fund something. And I haven't applied yet, unfortunately. I had to have done my taxes on time, and I don't do my taxes on time because I'm that responsible person.
DJs aren't known to do our taxes on time, so I feel
My taxes are airtight. Airtight.
It used to be like that with me. At some point, I just like stopped. Well, actually, I stopped when I started working on my 3 styles. But I'm gonna blame it on 3 style, right?
Yeah.
But no, but seriously, I just have to do that and then apply. Apparently, it's pretty easy to get. Most people get them, and they're giving either unemployment, which I think it's a percentage of whatever you worked, or the service, I think $2,000 per month or something like that. But it's $2,000 Canadian.
And that's a one-time check?
It's supposed to be, I heard it's up to 3 months, but we're going on the 3 months. So I'm not sure what's going to go on after that.
$2,000 a month for 3 months? That's not bad.
That's really good.
Yeah, but after that, you have to think about the fact that the government is going to come and take 35 to 50% of it back from the taxes.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not that great, and
you got to pay taxes on unemployment here too. So
yeah. So, well, it's not that great, but it's better than nothing at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, I still haven't applied, so I can't really complain. But yeah, I mean, I heard that in the States they were freezing mortgages and rents and stuff.
Nope.
No, not really.
They were
People are
hoping
trying to get that stuff to happen. Yeah, people are.
You heard about the dream.
The dream, because my aunt is in Boston, and she said that they froze it for 3 months.
It might depend on different cities, but like I know, like for me, like you know, I got my car note, my car payment like deferred till August, and some other bills, but like like mortgages and rent, I don't think so.
Yeah, my mortgage company told me that they could put my account in deferment, but that means that
you still pay for
every month that I don't pay, I'm not going to get a penalty, but the interest keeps running. Yeah. And then when the deferment's over, they split up all the payments I missed and spread it out over the rest of the payments, so my payment gets higher.
Oh,
yeah.
That's horrible.
That's not a real freeze.
No.
Well, not a freeze at all, actually.
No, some people are actually where they'll if you miss your payments for those 3 months, at the said date that they say, then determine, you basically have, maybe 6 months to pay the entire thing back. So it's not even like it's spread out throughout a 30-year of your whatever your remaining loan is. It's more like when they deem that, you know what, if you're not making money by now, it's your fault, not my fault. And a lot of people are going to probably lose their homes through, it's almost like the cash loan, like put your title down to your car to get an advance on your check, and then they get your car. It's kind of predatory if you sit and start to think about what's going to happen. I mean, if you're sitting on like a $3,000 mortgage, which in any city and major city in America is pretty easy to come by, and you let that triple on you, and you got $9,000 to pay on top of your normal bills,
that are pretty much in the rears as well. So
yeah, like everything that you've put on the side coming back is, you're gonna have all these multiple balloon payments on you that I don't think most people are really prepared for.
But why? Like the banks, it's only like scriptural money, right? So it's only like you charging me interest for lending me this type of money. Why can't you just freeze it? I mean, the interest, why can't you just freeze it? That's what I don't understand.
It's a lot of things they could do, but they choose not to unless the government forces them to do it.
Yeah, and the government is probably not, because they're...
Yeah, which will never happen.
And it's totally arbitrary. Like my car note, they were really nice. No questions asked. I don't have to make a payment till July. I'll probably get that extended too. And they just said, oh, well, you just take all the payments you missed and we'll just tack them on the end, like extending the life of your loans.
Yeah, that's what they should be doing.
That's great. That's fair.
The way it's supposed to be.
And the interest does keep running, but I mean, it's a negligible amount.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a choice that every company makes. The loan, the mortgage companies, they don't want to make that choice.
Yeah. Well, it's bigger than that. I mean, I think it has to. And Delta, you might even be able to speak on this in Italy, but did they freeze the mortgages and all the bills in Italy?
Yeah, it's the same in the US. It's the same things that Trayze said before.
So just the delay, but you're still everything comes due. Yeah.
It's the same situation.
Yeah, I mean the true solution would have been beyond anything our world probably was ever ready for, which would have been a complete global freeze of all economy and all money and everything on hold. And I can't see people, all the greed in our societies. There's no way that these countries would do that for humanity. So it's almost not fair to even put it on mortgage companies and banks, because they're all also held accountable to their bills and so it really has to go all the way to the top, to the people that print the monies. and they obviously have showed us they're not willing to do that. So as soon as they say they're not willing to do that, it just becomes a selfish trickle down of people saying, well, if they're not doing it for me, I'm not going to do it for you. You know, it's like,
well, we can't technically.
yeah, like we can't do it because our bills are still coming, and we definitely have you know, I think probably a new approach on what we all want out of our countries and our governments and our societies based on, you know, this insane situation that's been put on us that none of us could fathom. You know, I know a lot of us, you know, you guys were talking about how you're also doing mastering and stuff. Like a few of my friends that own studios that I do that do like lots of side hustle engineering work, like they're actually luckily still working because a lot of people are actually trying to get their albums done or trying to get, you know, projects that have been sitting in the studio that need to finally get mastered, and they're actually not doing their other gigs, so they're sitting at their studio doing stuff. But you know, for most of the creatives that I know, it's pretty tough sledding.
Yeah,
right.
That's exactly what I've been trying to do. Like right when they were starting to announce all these shutdowns, I was putting up posts like, hey, like this is not like a selfish thing for me, but like every musician is going to be out of work for a while. Everybody's going to be sitting at home making music. Like if there's any way I can help you get your stuff to where it needs to be, like, you know, let's work on this together. And I have gotten a couple things, but still, like, you know, the entire just creative world is just like gone in it, you know, with the snap of a finger.
Yeah.
So.
That just kind of sparked a thought for me real fast. This isn't an original thought, but I think it's relevant to what you just said, Big Once. The big picture about, if you look at America in the 60s and like social movements that came out of economic struggle, political struggle, all that, the art that comes out of that is timeless. And I think that one of the benefits that we have, and I keep coming back to this, our job is to make people feel stuff with sound. So we have the ability in this moment to really just do our part to kind of contribute to that and give people an escape and make people feel stuff. I think there's something to be said about the music and the art that's going to come out of this time, because it's now been 7.5 weeks that at least I've been locked in my apartment, and everybody else that does something creative is in the same boat. So I'm working on stuff. I'm interested to see how this affects creativity and the art that comes out of it, even though this is absolutely terrible.
Yeah, I mean, that is the only positive is like, you know, that again, like everybody's now sitting at home doing, you have nothing to do but make art or make music or whatever. So, yeah, there's probably going to be some cool stuff happening, and you know, there has been cool projects being released or whatever. But yeah, I mean, that's the only positive to this kind of thing. But you know, it's like, again, how there's also the other side of that where it's like, you know, I think if you're creative, you might feel pressure. It's like, okay, now I gotta put this stuff out. So it's like both sides. It's like it can be overwhelming, you know, because now there's the expectation that people are going to be putting out music and, you know, continuing to put product out. But, you know, if you know, inspiration isn't striking you or whatever, you know, you got bills to pay and whatever else, it's like there's the expectation that people should be putting stuff out, but also, you know, it's just it just for whatever reason it might not be feasible for everybody at the moment. So,
and there's the mental health aspect
yeah,
of that
for
too.
sure. Yeah, I mean, it's funny, like you know, anybody that checks in with me and asks how I'm doing, I'm like, I'm fine. Like I've been living this quarantine life for like, you know, 20 years. I feel like now, you know,
we are kind of
all
uniquely
of us
built for this.
It's like, you know, now the rest of the world is getting a taste of how we live. And it's like, dude, I got to put a mask on when I leave my crib to go to the grocery store. Like, okay, like, you know, my wife is not working. She's here. She's going a little stir crazy. But as far as my day-to-day life, other than the complete loss of income thing, like mentally, it's like, this is affecting me way less than most people because I've been doing the same shit for 20 years, you know, like, I mean, we've been living that quarantine life. But, you know, some people, man,
it's about how you let the stress affect you as well. So
Yeah,
people
yeah.
deal with the type of stress differently than others. Luckily,
You know,
for people,
I consider myself lucky. I've never really struggled with any of
yeah.
that. I know a lot of people do. I've just, I guess, always been able to be like, well, if this is not something that I can control me myself personally, like I can't get that upset about it, you know.
Bingo.
This isn't something that I, you know, that any of us can, you know, we can obviously all do our part to help make this go away, but you know, it's here. There's nothing, you know, other than like wearing a mask and not being an idiot. Like, you know, there's nothing any of us can do to make this go by any faster. So it's just like, well, you know, let's ride it out.
Wear the mask, wash your hands, just kind of do what you can do.
Yeah, man. I mean, you know, it's, man, this stuff, you know, there's a couple of people here not from America, but you know, the people that are, it's like every day on the news we're seeing these protesters without masks, and you know, let me go back to work, and you know, there's a lot of like you know, a lot of not believing in science going on right now, which to me is just like, what is happening? Like, why?
All that stuff goes on all the time now. You know,
It's just got a highlighter around it.
What were you saying, Lykx?
Did you guys ever think that you would be living through a situation like this? I mean, when Trump got to president, I thought we would probably have a World War III or something.
Yeah,
but never like a pandemic or anything like that.
It's coming.
Yeah, right.
It's coming. No.
My wife and I have a bailout plan.
That's in episode 2.
Start making a bunker.
Martial law over here.
Start doomsday prepping.
Yeah.
In episode 2, I'm already building a bunker here.
Oh, you got the property, man.
I rent.
I started watching Doomsday Preppers.
I rent an excavator, and I'm legit building a bunker here.
There we go.
That's not a joke, but still.
I genuinely started watching Doomsday Preppers just be like, that's funny, and then I was like, oh god, oh no, oh this is too close to home.
Yeah, they don't look so crazy now, right?
I watched that show to sleep though, that's for sure. I like play Doomsday Preppers and like fall asleep to that.
That's hilarious.
Just so like some of those things might seep in, like if I ever find myself in the moment, like, oh yeah, I had a dream about how preppers do it. Like, no, well, you were watching Doomsday Preppers.
It's funny that you say that, but you know, I've lived in DC for so long. I've lived in DC through the 9/11 attacks, and my wife and I have always had kind of like an exit strategy that rotated daily based on where we were. So it's like I would know where she was on what side of town if something really bad happened, and like who's the closest to go pick up the kids from school, and what's the route out of the city. And
that's insane.
Yeah, I mean, and like having it in a schedule, because we're both self-employed, we're both kind of running 100 miles an hour all the time.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't know how many of you guys have kids. I you know, Trayze and I, we have conversations as much as we can, just sometimes just venting about, you know, the rigors right now of trying to, you know, keep cool and do what is really important for our kids first and foremost. And, you know, I was seeing that a little bit. Shout out to DJ Ayers. I mean, he was on Twitter yesterday just talking about some personal situation with his own kids. And, you know, I've definitely felt myself in that same boat of, like your patience is thin, and you know, it's so much easier to crack and snap. And you know, we're grown adults. I mean, I can't imagine what kids are going through right now. And
yeah, I mean, I can't imagine what it would be like to have young kids now. I mean, you guys get all the props in the world, man. I can't, you know, that's.
Yeah, I've definitely the first 2 weeks of this felt like vacation for everybody around here.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
And by the end of week 3. By the end of week 3, I could start seeing like a noticeable change in the kids, and we're coming up on week 8 now, and we're just like losing our fucking minds over here.
Trayze, are your kids old enough to be in school? Your oldest is, right?
Yeah, well, the 2 older ones were both in like all day preschool.
Okay.
So they, you know, 7-8 hours a day, they're in preschool Monday through Friday.
So you're getting no kind of help from your kids.
Yeah.
No, it's. I mean, I honestly, every time that I get frustrated about like my situation, I have a 12-year-old daughter, which is a whole nother level of trying to understand what she's going through, and her body's changing, and it's like
Mental.
You know, just she knows she's in middle school. She knows everything. There's nothing. Dad isn't cool anymore. I used to be so cool to her. Now, like, get out of my Zoom. Get out of my Zoom camera, Dad.
Oh, no.
It's crazy because like they're mad. Like at every age, they're stressed out too.
Yeah, no. And then I have a 6-year-old that's just like, I want to go to school. I don't like you being my teacher. You suck as my teacher. That's basically what that's what he's you know, saying it more figuratively, but that is exactly what he's saying. He's like, you suck. Like, I want my cool teachers. I want Miss Lizzie and I want Miss Margot, and they're fun and they make school cool, and you're like sitting here telling me to get my handwriting better, you know? And I'm like all over top of him. So anytime I get super frustrated, I just think about Trayze. I'm just like, I don't feel so bad anymore.
I don't know if that helps at all, but bam.
He's got 3, man, all under the age of 5. That's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, you got a newborn or a 1-year-old and then a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old. Like, you are like
outnumbered, man.
Dude, I mean, that's beyond. And it's not like you have all the normal things to just go and be like, hey, just go outside or do this, or we're going to go, you know, burn 3 hours at a place. And
no, we go outside every day. I'm on 4 acres here, so we live outside. We're always outside.
Yeah. But you can't go get that interaction where you could just pop them at a park with a bunch of other kids and just be like, "Hey, do your thing." And
no, there's
like,
there's no playing with anybody. Just us. So
yeah.
And they like the 2 older boys. They used to kind of go at it a little bit, but they definitely go at it now. Like definitely like beating on each other every day.
Oh no.
I think that's still great though. For them, they're gonna realize how special that is way later on. Like, I grew up having imaginary friends till I was like 13, till my sister came around. So, that's good for them, man.
As one has imaginary friends.
I was gonna say,
we're being
shout out to Mr. Giggles.
Don't you can pretend like it stopped at 13. We know you still have imaginary friends, bro.
I see him in the corner right now.
Oh man.
Do you have a date on the opening soon?
Say it again?
Do you have a date on school, like when they're going to open? Because they're talking here like 25th of May or something like that.
I was supposed to take Miles in. He's my oldest, to go for kindergarten orientation back in March. That all got canceled. And we don't have a date yet for like when school's going to start in the fall. But their preschool, like last week, I want to say, their preschool, we got a call from them saying that they were going to open the preschool for kids of parents who are essential workers. And my wife, she works at the hospital, so she would qualify for sending the kids to school. But I was like, nah, no way. Like, it's not really safe.
It's not worth the risk at that point.
Yeah, like I don't want them to bring something home to me and then I get sick. I'm not even kidding. Like I was actually less worried about them getting sick and more worried about them getting me sick.
Yeah, apparently they're and how does it called? Without any symptoms. Forgot the word.
Asymptomatic.
Yeah. Asymptomatic. Yeah.
I don't know. We've been pretty healthy here. I do remember being like really, really sick over the winter. And I wouldn't be surprised if I had it. I wouldn't be surprised. With the amount that I travel, I would not be surprised.
Did you guys hear about the NAM fever?
Oh, that's the thing every year.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I mean, NAM is disgusting anyway.
Yeah,
I know.
So many people.
Oh my gosh.
Too close to
but they mentioned, like, you know, California's probably got, you know, like coronavirus like as early as January. So like a lot of people...
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if I already had it, a very like mild version of it. But yeah, I would.
Let me tell this story real quick. Actually, I'm glad you mentioned that.
Oh,
my wife from Washington State, and this is a conversation we've had, but I think it's worth sharing for anybody who might be considering the possible spread of this. My wife's family's from Washington State, and they have their own business that my mother-in-law runs. She has to go travel from state to state, and she does tattoo removal. She teaches people to take off. Other tattoo artists and people that do that, I don't know the space. She teaches people at like little conferences that she sets up. So they were flying back from I think San Francisco, and then a couple weeks later, we usually talk to them every Sunday. We find out that they're both really sick. Like, oh, okay, well, hope you guys feel better. Call us next Sunday. Let us know if you need anything. My wife's sisters are both out there in Washington. We're just the ones on the other side of the country. We talk to them next week. They got even worse. We hear like their voices are gone, all the things that they tell you are signs of it before you actually get diagnosed. And we didn't really know what was happening. It was too early here in the States for people to be identifying the symptoms on that big scale. Another week goes by. We talk to them. They're like, yeah, it's still worse. Our breathing is like really, really difficult. And weeks later, they start getting better and better. And now we're looking back on it like, you guys probably picked up something while you were traveling, and they just didn't know any better. They didn't know nothing to compare it to. So we're really fortunate that it seems like all the signs and symptoms point to they had COVID-19. They recovered. They never saw a doctor. They didn't interact with anybody. And we're happy that they're still here. But like that was the thing that hit me after we all got back from NAMM.
Yeah,
we were all out there.
We were all together.
Everybody's sick and coughing and not covering their mouths. It's just gross.
And touching all the gear. Like,
oh my God.
I mean, is NAMM ever gonna be this? Like, is anybody gonna want to go to that?
Trade shows aren't gonna be the same anymore.
No, it's like touching all that DJ gear, that magnetic. Like, just give me all the like, guys licking records.
My records. You want to use mine? Yeah, sure.
In between everybody touching everything, there's going to be a new child. It's going to be called a wiper.
I mean, for real, though, I'm going to say yes, we need to get back to that state. But the way we go about it might have to change. But at the end of the day, though, like, from Spanish flu to here, like, think about what happened in between there. At some point or another, people got comfortable with being around people.
People didn't have social media and the 24-hour news cycle and all that.
True.
Back then,
and that's what we have now. That is also the unknown of like what's getting us to be able to do this now. But is this going to forever push us away from more physical contact?
Well, it shouldn't be like I'm a kind of a germaphobe.
Let's talk about
it shouldn't be that way. Honestly, it should just be like. Be like
straight up. I was raised that way.
At that point, you're clean for others. You know what I mean? Like, wash your hands. Why do you have to tell like adults to wash their hands? Like, how does that make sense?
I'm gonna be honest, straight up. Not everybody lives the way we do.
Yeah, but
some people just like washing their hands.
I don't think people. I don't think people are gonna adapt anymore. I mean, the
elbow bump going.
Yeah, they're gonna have to do the elbow bumps. Everybody's gonna have to, like, at gigs, gonna have to bring their own wipes, wipe down after each DJ, and bring your own microphone, bring your own
that's for sure.
I remember some nights. I remember some nights we would share records.
Oh yeah,
all the time. Records.
Oh, and that's like something we want to talk about after this quick break. Sean, let's do your tech tip of the week real quick.
Tech tip of the week,
real quick. So it says 15 minutes past the hour. So everybody, big shout out to everybody on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. If you want to join us on the chat here in Zoom, make sure to go to the link on the screen, bit.ly/the9@9. We're here till 11 p.m. So yeah, let's go ahead. Sean J, take it away with the tech tip of the week.
Yeah. All right, here we go, guys. I'll make this quick and simple. I've been getting a lot of questions about streaming stuff, and we're 7 weeks in, so I wanted to kind of illuminate a little bit of what I've been doing with OBS. So what we're going to talk about here, I did my screen share. I want to make sure that's coming through. It's going to mess up the whole stream
coffee.
thing. Oh, the coffee. All right, I don't know if we can do anything to adjust how that looks for the viewers, but here's the quick and dirty tip. What I have here on my screen, I'm going to shrink this down a little bit so it fits on the window. I'm trying to preview it on IG. We've got an example of OBS, and OBS, Open Broadcast Software, is the software that most people are using to get their live streams from their computer and design your own layouts and send it out to the world. So a lot of people have hit me up, and I've had the same questions asked to me over and over, how you can keep your computer from getting choppy. So I made this as a little illustration. You've got different pictures and different resolutions. So that first one, 1920 by 1080 is the screen size we're sending out. This next picture, same thing, a little bit smaller, 1280 by 720. And then we've got some videos to kind of show the size of the screens in those resolutions. Here's what you can do in the settings of OBS to make this work a little bit better for you. Every computer's got 3 key things, especially if you're looking at a Mac versus a PC, that are going to cause OBS to struggle. The first one you want to look at is on your output settings. Sorry, not the output settings, the video settings. You've got your base canvas resolution, and that's what we saw in the first window. This base canvas resolution is the size of the screen, the size of that picture of coffee right there, 1920 by 1080, for example, on this one. If I shrink that one down to something smaller, for example, 1280 720, and hit apply, that's going to make the screen that we're using to design what the internet sees smaller. That's why we got our example here of the next one down, the 1280 by 720. Asking your computer to do that kind of work is one hiccup area. If you're telling your computer, I want the base canvas to be big and I want the output to be a little bit smaller, that takes a little bit of math. So if you want your computer to do less work, ask it to do less things. Keep the output canvas resolution and the base resolution the same. That's step one. Next, you want to take a look at your output bit rate for streaming. This is set for 400. I think I did this as an example, but ideally on a Mac, for the most part, it's standardized equipment hardware-wise. So anything above about 2,500 kbps on most Macs is going to be good enough quality that people will be able to see what's happening and follow along with your video, your audio, all that stuff, and it won't be doing too much chopping. But once you get above about 4,000 kbps, it starts to just look good and gooder, but no noticeable actual difference for people, because YouTube, Facebook, wherever you're streaming to is actually going to take the quality and drop it down on their end as well. So I recommend if your video is getting choppy, start at 2,500 as your minimum and slowly work your way up on the video bit rate. Last thing is essentially just if you've got a dedicated graphics card on your Mac, you're going to have a lot less problems, because in the Mac world, some of them have them, some of them don't. If you've got a computer that is a PC, you can do a lot to get an external graphics card and other things that are just going to take the headache away. But since so many of us got into the Mac game in order to be DJs and creatives, this is the tip that I got for you on simplifying the settings. First, look at your canvas resolution versus your output. Make your computer do less math to make the screen size different than what you're designing in. Change your kbps on the video output, and if you got a video card built in, use it.
All right, thank you, Sean.
Dope. So let's go ahead and talk about it, since we'll still talk about the pandemic, but right now, let's talk to Lykx about Red Bull World Finals. It's definitely postponed. It was supposed to happen April 20th to the 28th this past month in Moscow. How do you feel about that? And have you heard anything from Red Bull and what they're planning on doing?
Well, everything is on hold, so it's usually a festival that they throw at the end. So all festivals is 2021. So I think it's going to be that. And that's all I know. I know they're keeping alive the Play with Music hashtag, and we're all in this together. So we're just going with the flow, I guess.
I don't know if you guys know this, but the Russian national final for freestyle was like literally a few days before the US went on lockdown.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like it was like very, very early March, late February. It was about a week before, because I remember like Jay Espinosa saying like, man, it's crazy, I just got back from Russia and like shit is going crazy here. And of course, like Russia didn't go on any kind of lockdown until just recently.
Yeah.
So
when did they cancel? Postpone it. The Red Bull.
Yeah.
The World Finals.
The World Finals. When did they make the decision?
Yeah, pretty early on.
Yeah.
So how long?
Actually no. Wait, I don't know if I have my timing right, but I think the decision to postpone the Worlds was done almost exactly around the time they had the Russia national final.
Yeah, 2 days.
And people were like mad confused.
Oh wow.
Yeah, 2 or 3 days.
I was at the Russian national finals. When was it? Wasn't it? It was the first week of March.
It was like March 6th or 5th or something like that, right? I gotta look it up now.
But it was at the beginning of March. It was right in between or right at lockdown, I think. Lockdown here was at March 12th. So it was pretty much around that time that we knew that it was going to be postponed for sure.
Yeah, like all the upload dates on YouTube for all these sets is like March 7th, March 9th, March 8th. So yeah.
So
that's pretty crazy.
It's safe to say though, if the competition starts, say 2021, it'll start where they left off with you guys and do that final battle, or like there's no other word about an online
They're definitely gonna find a world champion for sure.
That's
definitely gonna do that, and then after that go with the flow, I guess. But it all depends on what happens, because till now we don't know what's gonna happen. You know, it could be shut down for another 3 years. You know?
Yeah,
we don't.
I'm just looking it up now. Their national final winner was announced on Twitter on March 9th.
Wow, that's crazy.
This is the kind of stuff that pulled me back into DJ Twitter just to see what was going on.
And
the pandemic hype had I think it had already been declared a pandemic by then. Worldwide.
Yeah.
But in the US it wasn't like
we weren't stuck in place yet until the 15th.
Yeah. I guess it depends on where you live. Like for me, it was for us, it was Friday the 13th was, I think, the first like lockdown day. But I actually voluntarily did not do any of my gigs the weekend before that, March 6th or 7th. Because I was like, I'm not going to some major city to do gigs. Like,
yeah, I remember that because I took those gigs for you.
I got a couple phone calls and I was wondering who backed out, but I understood why.
No, it's cool. I remember talking to Chris that same weekend, and we looked at each other, and I was like, "How do you feel about this?" He said, "Yo, this is the mad dash for cash. This is the last weekend to do the mad dash for cash if you want it. You know, that's the last run." And sure enough, that was the last weekend we were working, Chris. So,
Yep. And at the club, I was at Heist Trayze, and I had Piero guarantee me that no one would come into the DJ booth or I wasn't gonna play. I was like, we have to block off. And he was like, yo, I'm so with you. I'm gonna stand here and make sure no one comes, because he also didn't want to have to touch anybody or do anything. It was so weird.
That's a good excuse, you know, whenever clubs do open up. Whenever.
For those that don't know, the booth is the most expensive like table you could buy. Can you go hang out with the DJ?
Right behind the DJ table.
Yeah, it's got a full-on, like, real bottle service table behind it with, you know, the people that want to touch your records and like do all kinds of silly stuff. But the crazy thing, Delta, the manager of this club, his name is Piero. He's also from Italy. He has family in Italy, and he was showing me. This was like in March, I think March 6th or whatever. He was showing me videos. His one brother's a police officer in Italy and the other one's a doctor, and like showing me all these crazy images way before we knew what was happening here, and almost telling me like, look, this is coming, we're on the same track, and like showing me lines of people waiting to get into grocery stores that were longer than I've ever seen in my life. And you know what
the first week of March was the most intense for the the coronavirus situation in Italy. A lot of people died in the first week of March, and this is the week when the government decided to lock down, to start the quarantine in Italy. Yes, we lost a lot of people, and was crazy, man. Was really crazy. Every day we read the paper and see how many people died the night before, and was is a nightmare. But right now is better.
That's good.
It's better.
Oh, you guys, I mean, I don't know how many of you are still like actively battling, but do you think this would totally change the way you guys look at doing a venue, you know, where multiple DJs are touching all the gear and moving around the table even? And...
Well, I know in terms of like actual DJ battles, just to touch on the topic of the show more directly, for me, there's a huge difference between seeing somebody's set online and then seeing a 3-style in person in the room, in the club. It's like night and day, man. The people, I've always been thrown off. The people who I thought would just absolutely murder it end up shitting the bed when it comes to the live in the club part. So when you're at your house, in your studio, in your bedroom, and you're throwing down the most amazing application video, like you're comfortable there, and you get into the club and like someone unexpected takes it because they had more confidence in the booth, and that translated better to the crowd. So I think when all the battles start to move online only, it's going to totally flip like who has the advantage.
That's interesting. That's
interesting. Totally. It's a huge difference.
I mean, for you guys, like your experience in the past, like because like DMC and Red Bull are two totally different things. But like, what do you guys think is the most important thing to win a Red Bull, competition? Is it the stage presence? Is it the stage presence, charisma, and all that? The technical part of it, or the song selections? Being like the good party DJ.
Well, I mean, not only have the official criteria changed recently, but the judging has always been pretty inconsistent. So really hard to give anyone advice. Like you're really kind of stabbing in the dark with a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, it changes so much every year that like I would not have a clue what judges are looking for the last like 3 or 4 years. Like not a clue.
The judges are always different, or mostly always different. As well from year to year. So
and I mean, they give them the criteria, but they don't always follow it. I mean, at the end of the day, the judges usually just throw out the score sheets and say these are the top 3.
Very true.
I think originality.
My favorite thing to say after people ask me, I say, I feel like I did well, but I'm not judging. So simple as that.
I think originality is probably the most important thing.
Exactly.
And originality that translates well to the crowd and translates well to the judges. Meaning like you could be the most like weird, oddball, original type of DJ that they've seen, but if that's not translating well to the crowd, and you're not selecting the right songs that are going to get the judges' attention, you kind of have to have like a really well-balanced mix of everything. And you got to have all those like wow moments.
Originality,
I know.
Originality is one of the most important criteria in Red Bull 3-style evaluation. When I judge in a Red Bull 3-style competition, every time I see the originality level of the DJ, and how this can fit with the crowd, This is important. It's important what Trayze said.
Yeah.
And the other thing that's really like kind of turned me off to a lot of this lately, the last like 3 years, is three style has become a style of DJing. Like in a bad way.
In a bad way.
And what's really interesting is three style itself is pushing back against that, because the people that are winning are not the three style of DJs.
Playing the memes and stuff. Lykx, you were about to say something before we got into that part of it. Is that what you were about to get to?
I was just going to say, I think like the most important thing for anybody that wants to do a battle, like whether it's three style or DMC or whatever, is find one or two other DJs that are on your level or better than you and run your stuff by them. Because like Trayze was saying, how, you know, guys will go up there and they think they just have, and I've judged, God, probably 50 battles, three style battles since I won.
Wow.
And you can just, every time you can tell who made the routine in their bedroom and they're like, yo, I'm going to get on stage. This is going to kill. And they get on stage and it just bombs. And it's because they didn't get the opinion of anybody else, you know, to run stuff by them. Like that is so huge, because
that's my Geo's that guy, me.
When you're coming up with stuff, and again, this can go for any battle, whether it's DMC, you know, ITF, three style, whatever. You're coming up with stuff in your room, and you know, especially for three style that's like more party focused. Again, it's like you can think you have the greatest idea in history, but you know, you got to get that opinion of other people to at least think like, okay, it's a good idea, but you can, you know, cut this part down, extend this part. This part doesn't necessarily make sense. You know,
yeah. I mean, I've always said, like, me and Big One's, like, he was a huge part of my success. Like, everything was run through that dude right there.
Yeah.
You always have to have somebody that you can trust that to show off your routines. And
Gio, you know this. I mean, you were part of a DJ crew, you know, in the DMC days.
Like, I mean, even right now, like as one and like, you know, like ID and like I tell them how it is, man. Like I don't sugarcoat it, man. It's like,
oh yeah. You know, I had
honesty is the greatest thing that can happen for somebody that's competing, you know.
Yeah, and I had, you know, like I was lucky. Like I had Trentino, he had me. We both had Kid Cut Up, who I've mentioned before. He was a big help in helping both of us like tie these loose ends together and stuff. And you know, again,
everyone contributed.
Oh,
Chris Carnes.
Shouts Chris Carnes.
We would send videos to people all over the country.
Yeah, after I won the US, I specifically asked Chris Carnes, Golden Child, and I think Dynamics if I could send them stuff, you know, as I was preparing, and they were like, yes. And like, you know, I was like, actually, this is the biggest thing aside from getting the second opinion is, you know, first of all, if you're afraid to lose a battle, don't enter a battle. Like if your ego is not going to be able to take you not winning, then battling is not for you. And that also goes with feedback. Anybody that I would send the stuff up to, I'd be like, be brutally honest. Does this suck? If it sucks, tell me. And, you know, I'm not going to get like offended or sad. Like, you know, there were so many times where I would show stuff to Trentino or Cut Up or Chris Carnes and they'd be like, just like, no, it's just not, you know, it's just not there. And I would be very happy to get that feedback because it would just go to make me a better DJ. And I know if I didn't listen to them, I would do that thing that I mentioned before. I would go up on stage and I'd be like, all right, here comes, you know, I'm about to drop this bomb, and it just, you know, just falls completely flat. So
you lose the context if you don't have somebody who's seen from the outside objective eye and ear.
100%.
The other big aspect when it comes to context is, and I know from my personal experience, everything I've ever done in a three style battle was born out of something that I did in the club. Every idea that I come up with was something that I originally did in the club, and that was like the testing ground for everything. So if all the clubs are closed,
that was not the case at all for me.
Right.
But that's I mean, especially like 2013 when I went all the way, that was all like created for 3-style. And even afterward, I would try to do a lot of those routines in the club, and they don't work. Like it was for 3-style, and that was it. Like I would do them just for like the DJs maybe that wanted to see something specific, but like that's how I personally.
Yeah, that goes back to changing every year. Like a lot of the stuff that I did for my winning sets, I could still do in the club because it wasn't super technical. It was more like blends and like party stuff. When Trentino entered, yeah, that entire every routine you did was literally like.
Yeah, no one wants to hear like a solo piano for 8 bars.
right.
Doesn't make any sense in a club.
Here's what I really want to know is, especially at Delta, Trentino, Big Ones, and Trayze, you guys have been in that World Finals week, I guess. How much of your final routine was changed up during that week? Just seeing other DJs, like I don't know about Trentino and Big Ones, like how would the format was, but
or do you change it at all?
Did you change it at all, or
on the fly?
I made the executive decision before I went to Canada that I was not going to bring my computer that had Ableton on it, because I did not want to like psych myself out like that. It was like, all right, I only had from the time I won the US up until the Canada World Finals, I had less than a month. Yeah. So I had to have 2 sets. So I was already in a crazy time crunch, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna get what I can get done before I leave. I was putting in just crazy long days to try to get enough material for 2 sets. And I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna like go up there and freak out if I see somebody going, on a day before me that thought of something that I didn't think of. It was just like, I'm not changing anything. I'm gonna go, I'm gonna do my thing. If they like it, cool. If not, I did my best, just because I know a couple DJs that did that like change, like one guy who I'm not going to mention had this set that he actually played for me the night before all the battles actually started, because me and this dude became super close real quick. And I was like, dude, this is really solid. Like, I really think you have a chance to do really well. And the first night, he was going on the second night of battles. The first night, a guy went and who advanced that was like more technical than him, and just, it was completely different. So he like kind of freaked out and stayed up literally for like 24 hours straight, reworking his entire set. And I was like, dude, don't do this. Like, I've seen your shit. It's really good. You're just a complete opposite DJ from him. Not one is better or worse than the other, but
Bank on that, yeah.
I don't think he didn't advance. I don't want to say if he stuck with his original routine, he would have, but like, I think you just need to play to your strengths. Like,
yes, play to your strengths is like the #1 advice.
Trust the process.
Yeah,
do that.
Play to your strengths.
I mean, everybody in here has something that they're good at, or a lot of things that they're good at, but there's everybody else in here has something that they're better than at than everybody else. Like, I can't compete with, like for example, like Chris Carnes was in my US finals. Like, I'm not going to try to go cut for cut or like the super technical stuff against him, because he's going to make me look like a jerk off, but like with Trentino, he has the crazy musical ability. Like, that's what you need to put forward, because nobody else is going to have that, and
again, back to originality.
Yeah, dude, totally. And like, that's it. You just got to play to your strengths, do as best as you can with the skill that you have, help seek out other people's advice. And that's all you can really hope for,
Now, Lykx, I wanted to ask you, is there a crew or any of your fellow DJs that you're able to run your stuff by? Or I've seen a couple of your videos, and I mean, I'm definitely a fan from watching.
Yeah, Lykx, you crushed it on that challenge.
Yeah, you got a style that's really unique to yourself. And
sound effects. Unfortunately, I do not have a crew that I could run through. Like, it sucks to say, but like, I'm alone. Like, I decided to do the 3-style. I'm alone, It's crazy. I was not encouraged by any fellow DJs here.
That's sick though.
Kind of sucks because I hate to say it, but I think it's because I'm a girl, and the DJ community here is really, really, really exclusive to, like, you know, friends, cliques and stuff. So if you're not part of a clique, you can't do certain clubs sometimes even. And because of that, and my love for music, because I produced and then I decided to become a DJ. I just decided to do my own thing. Anyways, I would do this regardless. This is what I do. This is what I love doing. This is what I spent hours doing with no problem. So to come back to your question, no, I do not have a clique. I run my last set to my girlfriend and my brother and my mom. You know what I mean?
You know, that helps though too, for real. Like,
getting somebody outside the DJ world's opinion is, especially for
100%.
Red Bull, it totally.
Yeah, but they're kind of biased. Like, you know, even when they do tell me it's good, I don't believe them. I'm like, Hercules. Hercules.
Well, hey, you got a crew now, and I'm sure any of us would be more than happy to listen to.
Hey, there you go.
Part of the circle of champions now.
Yeah, seriously.
That's what's up.
You know, I've always, you know, guys, girls that are coming up, I'm always like, yo, I'm always here for, you know, a second set of eyes, ears, whatever, like advice or knowledge that we can impart on you, like, you know.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Here's the way I look at it.
The hoarding knowledge thing to me is just is super played out. So you know, you got a crew now. I know any of us would be down to.
Hell yeah.
100%. I'm not just saying that. Like,
That's what happens on the 9 and 9. You know, we connect.
The simple fact that you were able to make what happened for you and won the championship that you won without anybody, without
anybody else,
crew
says a
or
lot.
pushing you or slicing you straight up, like that means a lot already. So
explain to the people that are not from DC what slicing you means. I mean, you could gather what it means from context, but I always love to hear when somebody says
so when
like
someone
original DC slang.
Yeah, in the DC area, if you're being sized, someone is basically bigging you up. They're blowing your head out. They're like, yo, that's dope. Like, go ahead with that. Like, that's fire. I'm psyching you. So but yeah, that
I forget that's
dope.
a regional
that
thing,
goes
man.
to show already, kind of, you know, mind over matter, guys. Like, you know, if you feel like you have the thought process to make it, you know, you can watch a video.
Well, it's
and like,
just the love. I mean,
there you go.
You gotta do in life. I believe that everybody should do what they love to do. Like, if you don't like your job, do something that you like doing. I like doing music. This is what I'm doing, and I'm super happy to be able to do that. You know what I mean? And I really, I wake up in the morning and I'm happy, and I feel like everybody should have that type of, like, you know, wake up in the morning and want to go because they like what they're doing. The world would be a better place, honestly.
Yeah,
It's really good that you have that attitude, and having the right attitude is awesome. And it's probably the most important thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
having the right attitude.
When we were probably about 2 weeks into this pandemic, a DJ friend that we all know was saying that he was seeing how people are like so excited that they don't have to work. Basically, they're like, "Woohoo! I don't have to work. I'm home." And he's like, "Man, I would do anything to go work." And I kind of explained to him, like, well, that's because probably 90% of the world don't do a job that they love doing. They do it out of necessity. And he was kind of like, whoa, I never even, in his own life, never even thought about how he is so blessed to be able to do what it is you love, or something that you have a passion for.
Right. Very much so.
And even
there was a question in the chat to that point. Somebody was asking how many people here on the panel have any other income that they're planning on depending on now that we can't do any DJ gigs. So I guess I'll just kind of open it up. Does anybody have like a plan B that they're putting into place right now?
Nope. I mean, not at the moment.
I started a Patreon page.
I have a PhD in philosophy. Maybe.
Oh man.
Oh shit!
For real?
Wait, do you really?
Yeah. I was a teacher in.
Look at all those books behind him.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, did y'all think those were records? Because those are fucking books.
Oh no,
Look at those books.
I mean, I went to
This is
college.
a house of doctors here.
These are comic
Family
books
of
behind me.
Not the kind of doctor that can solve this coronavirus
No,
shit.
no.
I'm a doctor. I have a PhD in philosophy.
That's
and
crazy. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Wow,
I
that's
was
incredible.
a teacher at the university
Right.
for a period of my life, 5 years or something like this.
Wow.
I know for me personally, starting like 2 or 3 years ago, I was already starting to transition away from club DJing, at least the weekly grind stuff locally.
Yeah.
And that was more of an exit strategy for me to continue getting music based income for as long as I want to have it. And so part of my plan is obviously like, you know, I still get a little streaming check, and Bandcamp payments are still nice to have. So I'm trying to like do more of that, just put out more music and
Yeah.
maybe tour whenever we can go tour again.
Yeah.
But until then, you know, we get a little bit of income from streaming and from selling music online. And yeah.
Well, this might, you know, I mean, you know, is basically like affected on all spectrum of like DJing. You know, like I run a like private events company, and I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna see any profit until like, you know, end of next year. But you know, but pretty much like I hopefully, you know, this is a lesson to everybody that you know it's you gotta diversify your, you know, your bonds and portfolio, you know.
And you gotta have that rainy day money.
You gotta save.
Yeah, what
Rainy day money.
Gio's basically saying is, come on, kids, sign up for some DJ classes. 'Cause Gio needs...
Well, Chris and I have sort of that money, but
yeah,
it's not a lot. But
no. I mean, I think for even a very diversified DJ or music person that has their hands in a lot of different various ways to make money, almost all of those were shut down anyway. Like I do a lot of curation for restaurants and hotels, and put music in a lot of different venues just for their background music, and like they're all shut down, so we can't charge them a revenue fee. I DJ for sporting events; those are all gone. I mean, so I think even for this, a smart DJ is already looking to diversify how they earn income from different kind of gigs in the first place. But this is not something, this is like the perfect storm. This is a wave beyond, you know, crashing down on people that, you know, it's really hard if you've put all your investment into being around people. It's difficult. Or you know, if you're a type of DJ that has you know, the production side, I guess, like Trayze is saying, you know, if you've got a bunch of streams and you've got at least something that can keep you going. But you know,
something that you can do in the house.
I think, I mean, I think, you know, a lot of guys, I mean, I know, you know, a lot of our friends are live streaming and either getting donations or partnering, getting sponsors, or taking over people's pages and getting actually paid to do a stream from a corporate sponsor's page themselves. You know, there's definitely, I think, starting to be some adjustment to where guys can actually start to make a little bit of money in those realms, even if it's temporary. I'm starting to see more of people getting virtual parties.
Parties a thing now.
Yeah, and it's starting to really pop off. Where even you know, I would just suggest to everybody that's watching, if you're a DJ, just go back through every email of every corporate client or person you've ever worked for and be like, hey, listen, you know, my services are open. If you're
the idea,
able to do it. Some people haven't even been thinking about it, or they don't realize. I've been doing some for some companies where they've got a employee staff of like 150 people, and they're all depressed, and it's like you can throw them on a Zoom and do a virtual party for them and it lifts their spirits, and especially if you're playing music that they want to hear, and they're interactive and they're seeing their friends and they're seeing their coworkers. Music is a healing in that sense, and it's really what's happening is we have to figure out how to adjust, even if it's temporarily, and then figure out what of the adjustments that we're making are actually going to carry us through to the next phase of things that won't necessarily die off. I think we will be able to see live streaming stay around long after this pandemic is gone. A lot of people would rather not go to a club, and not even because of this, but just because they're out of that phase in their life. Yeah. And they still love to hear music, and they would love to hear you guys play. I mean, I would pay a subscription to see some of the amazing DJs that do things and support.
It's already coming. Right. I'm in a couple of group chats, and where the word is already out that like Live Nation is going to have an online ticketing thing, and like all these concerts and shows are all going to move online. There's a lot of people joking. There's a lot of people joking on Twitter, like, who's going to be the first DJ to have a OnlyFans to see a DJ set? I mean, that shit
already happened.
It's coming. It's coming. And even if you don't put up like a paywall in that way, there's people that are getting on Twitch right now, and they're making like pretty good money on subscriptions and tips. I was listening to some podcasts, and I heard there's some DJs that are making like $1 to $2K a week on tips on their Instagram Live.
That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, and
you got a few thousand followers, and you got like 20, 30 people watching your Instagram Live all at one point, and a few of them are giving you a couple tips every hour.
Is everybody
do that, but people are doing it.
Is everybody on our guests, like, are you guys like live streaming at the moment? What are you guys doing?
Not yet.
I am.
Yeah, I'm not.
Heavily.
Yeah.
And what Trayze said, I don't have nearly as many followers as like everybody else here on this panel, but like I was able to pay off all the bills and make up all the income that I lost the first 2 weeks purely off of live streaming.
You heard it here first.
See, that's good. Yeah, like I don't know. I honestly
How do you guys feel about that? Like just asking for tips and stuff.
Yeah,
for our guests.
Comfortable like putting it out.
There's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of people out there that still have money to spend.
Yeah,
that's the key.
People
that's
that
strangers
are still being well paid.
Well, here's the thing that I don't think people realize, and to your point, Trayze, a good percentage of people still have income, and there is almost that survivor's guilt a little bit of like feeling bad. But secondly, people are still locked in. They're still feeling disconnected to the world. They're not finding some release or some peace or something that's comforting. And if you're playing, I think what is really dope is most people are really, with the music that they're playing on live streams, are really kind of tapping into that emotion and into the love of music, and people are responding back. And if you're kind of giving some medicine to a soul, people are willing to throw you a dub for that. They're happy to turn it. It's almost like if you saw the movie Field of Dreams, and they're like, if you build it, they will come. And they're turning over the money. They're turning over the money because it's not about the money that they lack. It's the peace. And I think it's kind of interesting, especially for Red Bull style DJs. I think you guys are actually in the perfect fit of being the actual perfect live streaming type of DJs. Not only because
I agree,
because you're unique enough to hold an audience with your skill set, and then with the things that you come up with, makes it really interesting. And I know Delta, you're one of our guys that's like, if you guys have never out there, if you've never seen any of DJ Delta's videos, just go on and check out some of his stuff, just like our panelists are talking about. But musically, it's incredible to see. And I think for you, I'd love to see your live stream, because I think your balance, and I would like to hear you talk about that, like that balance between the technical skills and the musical taste and the flow of that. How you what inspires you, and how do you come up with that?
this is the most important criteria in a club. You have to, for a Red Bull freestyle DJ, you have to balance your technical skills and the dance floor flow.
Yeah.
Because it's possible that there are people that don't understand what you're doing, don't understand your skills. So you have to find the key to communicate with the dance floor. So generally I play, I don't know, I play five hits, Beyonce, Rihanna, or something like this. And after 5 hits, I play something more difficult for the dance floor. But generally, I have to keep this balance, because we are turntablists, we are technical DJs, and the people sometimes is not prepared to understand this kind of work in a club. The people is there to party, and you have to rock the party with your technical skills, but not too much. You know, this is the way to work to perform good in a club. You know.
Yeah.
The only way.
The only way. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
I feel honestly, even like before this whole thing started, I feel like every year that goes by, like for the past, like, I don't know, 3-4 years, like every year, every month, every week that goes by, I do less and less like trickery or like trying to slide in like cool shit in the club, just because people just don't fucking care anymore. And I'm, you know, it's like, it sounds like a jaded thing to say, but you know,
super jaded.
You know what? You're not doing it for them at the end. You're doing it for you. I mean,
well, so this is my thing, is like, I never got into DJing to be like a cool club DJ guy. You know, like me and Trentino always talk about this. We got into it because of like the musicality aspect of it. Like to me, beat juggling and scratching was always it for me. The idea to take something that exists and make it something else, you know, and the ability to like combine that with other instruments or whatever the situation may be. That's why I got into DJing, like for the artistic side of it, not to be a club DJ. And even until slightly before you know, all the freestyle stuff started popping off, like I never necessarily thought of being a club DJ as a legitimate career. Now it's been over 10 years for me where I haven't had any other job. I mean, I Scratch Academy was open, but you know, but you know, it's again, I'm always going to think of DJing as like, what's like the coolest thing that I can do in this situation, or like what's the hardest possible music we could play in any situation is what me and Trentino used to live by. Like,
I mean, I would say
how can we push the envelope? You know?
Yeah, the overall scene in the U.S. has just shifted so far toward hip hop.
Yeah.
When you go see like EDM guys in Vegas, they're playing hip hop.
Yeah.
So like basically like the remixes of top 40 and hip hop songs, that used to be our realm, and it's not anymore. That's now the realm of the EDM superstars.
Yeah.
And they're dropping it from the top, like not even anywhere special.
Like basically what I get from all over the US, they want hip hop only, no remixes, no scratch.
100%.
That's what I get every time.
Every time.
And like either the people that book me think I'm a hip hop DJ and that's why they booked me, and like that's all I'm gonna do, or they think I'm not hip hop enough and they don't book me. Like that's the situation.
Yeah, we've both always existed in this weird realm where we're like not hip hop enough for the hip hop crowd, but we're, you know, like too hip hop for like the dance music crowd.
Yeah.
So but again, like you said, even now, like, you know, you go see Diplo at a club, he's playing all just rap music, you know, but he can get away with like sliding in remixes and other stuff. But
I'm fine with seeing Great Balls of Fire into Adam's Family, man. Like Trentino, come around here, weird that stuff, shit for me. I'd be like, yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't work anymore.
No,
it doesn't work.
In a DJ world though, like I like the risks. taking the risk. That's where I'm at. I don't mind.
So that's the thing. Is like,
if you take the risk, fuck them. You're the captain. You know what I'm saying? Are they getting paid? Are they DJing? I'm like, fuck it. I just wasted a minute of your life. Get the fuck out of here. You don't like it.
It's a minute. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing.
It.
People's attention span is so short, and now with Spotify and everything, YouTube, it's like, you know, young people can have anything they want at the snap of a finger. So why wouldn't they go to a club and expect to be able to hear what they want when they want? Like, that's fucked up the way we think about it. But when you think about it from their perspective, they don't care. They don't care about anything that you're going to do other than, can you play what they want to hear in, you know, maybe in an interesting way or in an interesting order. Anything else at this point doesn't matter. There are exceptions, you know, like I still get to play like cool stuff that I get to do whatever I want. Like I got to play Complex Con this year. Like somebody booked me for Complex Con. Like that's ridiculous. But I was able to put together a set that I felt represented myself. I got to do whatever I wanted to do to a point. And, you know, it was awesome. Like, you know, last year, me and Trayze were in Pittsburgh at the same weekend. I got to play Scenario, which shout out to Nugget.
Yeah.
But they booked me for like the launch of this like dance music party, and they were like, do whatever you want. And that was the most fun I'd had DJing in like a year or two, because I literally did whatever the hell I wanted without, you know, the crowd was there for new dance music. Any other normal club night, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, I mean, obviously, like the period from about 2012 to 2014, you could play dance. You were actually expected to play mostly dance music at mainstream clubs, and it was so much fun. And I hate to like be like that, but I mean, obviously, I miss those days. It's just
so we, you know, me and Trentino both last weekend, we did mixes for Lucky Strike in Seattle. You know, for my mix, I was like, you know what, I like thought back to like all the cool stuff that me and him used to play when you could play dance music in clubs. And it was like house music from like, you know, 2009 to like 2014 or 15. And there's just so much awesome stuff from that era that I still sneak in here and there. But for the most part, man, you just, again, unless it's like a specialty like house night or house club or electronic music night or whatever, you know, you used to be able to play that stuff on normal ass Saturday night club nights. That, for the most part, that does not fly anymore.
Well, guys, 2 hours is up. It went by so quick. We can probably talk about this forever. That's going to be it for the 9 at 9. Make sure to come back and see us every Thursday night starting at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Big ups to all of our guests here tonight.
Yes.
Yeah.
Champion Circle.
Definitely.
Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you for having us.
You can watch the replay of this show on our Facebook and YouTube pages at Beat Refinery. But if you want to listen to us on the audio side of things, the show is finally on Spotify, Stitcher, and wherever you consume audio podcasts. We'll be on Apple and Google Podcasts pretty soon, but we'll let you guys know about it. Make sure to subscribe and rate us on those podcast platforms. Again, if you want to learn how to mix, scratch, and make music, we do virtual online DJ lessons at the moment, so visit beatrefinery.com. Next week's episode is going to be crazy. We're going to continue the DJ competition discussion by bringing in some of the best DMC champions around the world. We're blessed to have a bunch of DMC world champions. We got Chris Carnes and Precision from the U.S. We got Vect from Canada. We got the Wonder Kid, K-Swiss from New Zealand. And of course, our very own two-time U.S. champion, Beat Refinery instructor, DJ Throwdown is going to be part of the show. So that episode is going to be sick. So once again, thank you to Trentino, Big Ones, Trayze, Lykx, Delta for being part of the 9 at 9 tonight. Tune in for next week's episode. We'll catch you all next week. So once again, stay safe, stay healthy. Signing out. Everybody say peace.
Peace.
Peace.